Good morning and many blessings here from your favorite neighborhood witch. It is June. So guess what, guys? We have a lot of things going on. I understand it is now officially Pride Month, and we should be more focused on Pride, and we are going to focus on Pride because we do need to go ahead and represent for the LGBTQ community. And I want everybody to understand, as a person who is pansexual, as well as, my lovely, lovely demisexual self, I do want everybody to understand, with everything going on in the culture today, with the society, it is not going to stop me from taking a moment to take pride in who I am. Yes, I am African American and I am also a woman, but I am also pansexual, demisexual, and I represent myself cold-heartedly. I am every title, and no title is not going to overweigh more than the other. I know that we've been having a lot of issues, especially since June started and sparked up the whole protest with going on with getting rights as well as justice for those who have been wrongfully killed or executed by the hands of police brutality. I have been noticing a lot of things on social media, and it's really, really hurtful as a person who is a human, who is into humanity. And I've noticed that a lot of people are sparking up controversy and trying to say, well, you are African American first, so you shouldn't worry about your pride. You're African American first before you're a witch. You're African American before you're a woman. No, I am all these things equally and unapologetically. So I'm not going to say that as a person who is African American descent, who is also pansexual as well as demisexual, that my black pride comes before everything else that is me. As a person who has formally came out on social media, and not publicly to my one of my parents, but I'm pretty sure at this point they know, they watch a lot of my stuff. I throw a lot of gay stuff up. I have to deal with pride as well as sexuality in a old school African American household, where being anything other than a straight woman is a taboo, or being anything other than a straight male is taboo. In the African American community, we still have to deal with the problems of being told that being gay is not okay. That if you don't like men, or if you don't like women as a male, then you still have problems. I know that as our generations are getting more accepting, there's still a lot of older generations who are not accepting over sexuality, as well as there's a lot of families, especially very heavy Christian-based families, who are still out to this day saying that is a sin, that is just the devil, this is this, you cannot be born this way. Some people are actually born to be gay, and some people, it's just in their genetics. They don't feel that they were born the right gender, that they were born liking what society tells them to like. And that is okay. Be happy on who you are. That is just it. I know some people got into being gay due to traumatic experiences growing up, or just realizing that they just didn't fit in and didn't like certain things. Being pansexual for me is, I don't look at people's genders. I don't look at that. I look at what they bring to me emotionally. And don't get me wrong, I find everybody to be attractive, and it doesn't make me selfish, because I've been told as a person who's pansexual or bisexual, that it's selfish because I want to date everyone. No, it's not necessarily that I want to date everybody or that I find everybody attractive. It's that I find people's hearts attractive. I find what's in their heart, their mind, how they express themselves. And also being demisexual, as well as a model, I look at people as, hey, what does this person bring to me emotionally? Are they building me emotionally? Are they stimulating me emotionally? That's when that all boils down. So when a person is sitting here waving their flag, saying that, yes, I'm bisexual, I'm proud, yes, I'm pansexual, I am proud, you still have to realize that as people, we have deeper intellect when it comes to our sexuality. I know plenty of people who have still to this day dealt with, having the fear of coming out to their parents, even if their parents is fully aware that they're gay, and they still say, oh, well, I have a problem if they're gay, or if my child was gay, I would do this. And it makes it hard for children to want to come out to their parents or come out to their friends. And you would think with today's society, we would be more accepting about coming out because of the past and how people have been handling things. But in all, it is one of those things that we have to take in consideration. There's still a lot of people out there that have a problem with people who are gay, and they make it hard for their children to want to come out. And I think some parents subtly kind of drop those hints, talking about if this was my child, when they're watching these stories or hearing about other people's children coming out at young age, because they were like, oh, well, you're too young to understand if you like girls or boys. Most people, when they grow up and we start developing those senses and what our attractions are, we already kind of know what it is. So at this point in time, I always look at it as a person, when it comes down to children, when it comes down to how things are going and how they handle things and how they look at things, if your child expresses to you at a young age, if your son comes up to you, if your daughter comes up to you and say, hey, mom, and you say, yes, Timmy, and Timmy comes up to you and say, well, I think I may like boys. And it doesn't matter how old or young they are. If you have to start being accepting, we have to take in consideration at this point in time, we have to break the stigmas. And that was the whole reason I started these podcasts, was so we could start breaking the stigmas, breaking the molds, and taking in consideration that, yes, these are still taboo things, even if in today's society, we are more accepting to different sexualities, different sexual orientations, and things of that nature. One thing that I always want to end up telling people and reminding people is that with everything as humans, we are constantly evolving, and with every generation evolving, with everything in the society evolving, we have to evolve with it. And if we don't evolve with it, if we're set in our ways, we're never going to end up changing, and that's just it. It's one of those things where we try to fight for equality, we fight for equal rights, just making sure that our lives matter. And at this point in time, I've been sitting here, standing on my platform, especially with all of the things going on, sitting here making sure I talk to you guys about sexuality, talk about mental health, talk about, equal rights, because I am still a person who fights for what is right. During Pride Month, this is the time that we should really take in consideration, especially with Black Lives Matter, and just asking for us to be valued as humans and more than just minimum. Those in the LGBTQ community should really look at it. We should be fighting together. We should be walking together, because you guys got equality. And as Black people, being the vast majority of people who are in the LGBTQ community, you guys should be standing with us. Your battle's not over. Our battle's is not over. Pride is taking pride in who you are. Whether you're gay, straight, transgendered, queer, Black, white, Asian, whatever. We should be standing together. Your guys' fight is never over. Our fight is never over. As humans, we just demand equality. As a Black, as a mixed African American, pansexual, meaning that I like everybody. It's about hearts, not parts. Who has friends who are transgendered in both the African American community, in the white community, in the Asian community. People who are queer, people who are bi, and gay. You are all these things and more. You are you. You're beautiful. As we go into Pride Month and we share our pride, and I know you guys feel like right now with the Black Lives Matter movement, that doesn't stop you from being you. We should be fighting together. We should be standing together, because all in all, every life is important. Every life is wonderful. Every life is valued and has some value to it. Everybody's here for a reason. You are who you are for a reason. We should take pride as being humans, in our sexuality, in our fellow man, and being who we are. Now, before we go into a little bit more on sexuality, I just wanted to end that little tidbit before we go into details more into the pride and going into what makes us us and makes us happy and makes us flourish and be amazing. Because like I told you guys before, yes, I am African American, and I am definitely pansexual, and I am definitely demisexual, and I am still the neighborhood witch. I am all these things and more. Nothing overweighs more than the other, and I'm going to stand by what is right. I take pride in who I am, and that is what pride is about. I take pride in being demisexual. I take pride in being pansexual. Yes, I have a little pansexual flag. My sister knew I was pansexual, and she's acknowledged it more than anybody else in my family. She bought me a little pansexual flag, and she's like, "This is for you. I thought of you." And I was like, yes. If we have more people out in the world who is more accepting of people's sexuality in the African American community, we wouldn't still have to end up having these talks, these discussions. There's a lot of women out there who battle with their sexuality. There's a lot of guys out there that battle with their sexualities. There's a lot of controversy where it is okay for women to be gay, but men cannot. Some guys, I actually find it funny. I actually had a conversation with one of my guy friends who he basically said that he doesn't watch porn to watch the males. He doesn't like watching orgies or gangbangs. He only watch females kissing, lesbians having orgies, lesbians attacking one guy, because he feels like if multiple guys are in a scene, it's gay. And that's something I want to erase. People like what they like, and there's a borderline. Something about pride and what people are constantly fighting about, and what one of our society has a major problem with, especially with male community, is that it's okay for two girls to be kissing, but it's not okay for two guys to be kissing. And that's something that we still had to this day have a huge, huge problem. Zeb said it back in a couple episodes ago where we were talking about basically it's in society, it's bad for guys to say I love you to their fellow friends because that would be considered gay. No, that just consider you care enough about your friend to remove any problems to say I love you and let them know that they're valued. That doesn't mean that they're gay. And if your friend comes out to you as gay, you shouldn't treat them less than a person or lose them as a friendship. I've seen and witnessed years of friendship be destroyed because a friend comes out to another friend. Parents disowning their children because of them coming out. everybody subconsciously already knows. They can see it. We can see the signs that there's something not quite right with their child. And the biggest thing that I have a problem with, especially in the African American community, is that we are so quick to dismiss a gay child, but we will still praise that uncle or that grandfather or that family member who's a pedophile. We'll sweep that under the rug, but if you're gay, no, you're not part of the family, you're disowned. And it still happens to this day. People don't talk about it as much because of the movement that happened in the early 90s to end up giving people equal rights, especially in the LGBT community. But the whole reason that I'm using my platform is to still bring light to the things that we have kind of pushed past because we felt like, oh, we have the rights, we have this, we have these pride parades, we have these days, we can be able to show our pride without being unapologetic. But there's still people out there to this day who are afraid to come out to their parents. There's still people to this day who are afraid to come out to their friends. There's still people out to this day who are afraid to be their true and honest selves because of society is saying it's okay, but their parents or their friends, they feel like if they don't say nothing, they don't lose anybody. They're so afraid of losing their family, but they don't realize that there's a whole community that would consider them family. Some people, it took me years to realize that sometimes family isn't the people that birthed you. It's sometimes not the people that raised you. Sometimes it's the people that you gain over the years in the community, in society, who come into your life. Like, I've got a lot of friends who consider me more of their family than their own parents. And they will be saying, if my parents was to disown me tomorrow, you will still be my family, no ifs, ands, or buts. For those who are afraid to come out to their parents because they're afraid to be shunned, think of those people who are in your life that will still love you to this day if you were to come out. They probably already know, but they're not going to push you to come out. They're waiting on you to. Because as humans, we pay attention, we watch, we look at the notions, we look at the motions, and we will still accept you. We keep you in our circle because the fact that we love you that much. I've actually ended up reading. And people who know me knows I love to read. I love to dig deep into the human mind, as well as what makes us do the things that we do and why do we attract the certain people that we attract. Most people end up finding out that 5% of the people that is in your circle is you. When you end up hanging around the people, there's everybody in your circle has a lot of common similarities to your personality. And the reason why you're attracted to them because they share the same common similarities of your qualities that you like in yourself. So as a person who is pansexual, I have a lot of people who are either gay or they're bisexual or they're okay with their sexual orientation and they know who they are, or they're people who actually support the movement and they're okay with it. They're in my circle because that's something we share in common. That gray line that we erased, that's why they're there, because they accept people for who they are. We have those similarities and they have those qualities that I love in them, that I love in myself, and that's why they're in my circle. Or I have a lot of people who are in my circle who are also parasites, and I'm aware that they're parasites, but at the same time, I'm not going to push them away until they piss me off. I'm waiting on them to do something real bad, and then I'm like, all right, cool, bet, bye. One thing that we have to do as humans, especially those who are afraid to come out, one thing you have to do is you have to be prideful of yourself. Love yourself enough to know that you want to be your true and honest self 365 days a year or 366 days a year, 24/7. You want to be you. Even when you're mad, sad, upset, whether you're afraid to come out to your parents, doesn't matter. Because you know what? Like I said, there is plenty of people in the community who is on the same level as you, who is afraid to come out, to tell their parents that, yes, I like boys. Yes, I like girls. Yes, this. And a lot more people who are in the white American and white community come out and they show so much more pride, but then in the black community, we have so many people who are afraid to come out. Ladies, guys, it does not make you selfish if you decide that you don't know whether or not you like females or if you like males. You could just be on the fence because you may have had a slight attraction to one person. But that doesn't make you fully, gay. And guys, just because you may like pegging doesn't mean you're gay. You know what you like. That does not make you gay. But if you are gay, be yourself 24/7, 366 days a year. That's what June was set for, to remind you that it is okay to be you. Unapologetically you. My tagline is, I am perfectly imperfect and I am unapologetically me. You have to love yourself enough to be true to yourself. So for those who are battling with their sexuality, for guys who are battling whether or not they're gay, for females who are battling whether or not they are full-blown wanting to be lesbians, and they're afraid to come out to their parents because their parents pressure them to want kids. Because yes, as women, we still get the problems too. Yes, we are more accepting when we admit that we're gay. But think about it. We still have to deal with a lot of those pressures. When are you going to get married? When are you going to have kids? Because society has programmed us to believe that it's okay. And just because as women, and it's okay and it's more accepting for us to like other girls, we still have to fight for those who are gay, for guys. We do. Because they fought for us. And then we have to remind people that at the end of the day, even if we're lesbian, that does not mean we're not going to be able to have kids. There's plenty of lesbians who go out and go have kids. And just because you have a child does not mean that you went out and go get some dick to have some children. Because some people look at females and be like, oh, you have 4 kids, so you can't be a full lesbian. You must have liked guys at one point. No, not necessarily. There is still other things like IVF. There is people who adopt. There is other things. Because even within the lesbian community, we bash dykes who have children. They may have wanted kids at one point. My cousin, and I love her to death, and I hope she doesn't get mad at me for sharing her story. She is a lesbian, and she has a daughter. She went and talked to a friend of hers, a guy that she dated, before she fully got off the fence of being bisexual. Said she wanted a daughter. She wanted a kid. Well, she didn't say she wanted a daughter. She just said she wanted a kid. She talked to one of her male friends. They agreed. She worked it out until she was pregnant. And the moment she was pregnant, she cut having dick off. And ever since then, she's been dating females, but she has her daughter. Yeah, she wants another kid later down the line. But that was the arrangement she made. That was her choice on how she wanted to go. Because not everybody can afford IVF. IVF is a procedure that most companies does not, and most insurance companies do not pay for. That is a lot of money. That's almost a whole portion of a tuition. And some people have to go by their means, because just because you're a dyke doesn't, just because you're a lesbian and just because you don't like dick does not mean you don't want kids. Some people rather have and go through the process, and nobody should tell you how to be you. Like I tell people all the times, especially with everything going on, as humans, we always find other ways to bash other humans. And one thing about me is I try my best to not judge people until they give me a reason to judge them. What you do with your life, as long as it's not affecting me directly, I do not care. Is it making you happy? That's the only thing I worry about. What you're doing, is it making you happy? Okay. Is it helping you recharge? Is it protecting your energy? Then do you. I'm not going to bash a dyke for having a child. I'm not going to bash a stud or a stem or anybody for being who they are, for switching it up. If they want to end up dressing like a female one day, then that's fine. If you want to dress like a whole dude, then you fine too. Is that making you happy? Are you being yourself 366 days a year? 365, depending on the year. We have to, as humans, mind our own motherfucking business and stop touching other people's stuff. Take pride in who you are. Stop worrying about other people. Stop looking at other people's windows, how they live their lives. Is it affecting you directly? We get so offended by what people do, especially now with Pride Month. People have been, till this day, there's people out in the world who are trying to sign petitions to stop pride parades and stop pride parties and meetings and everything else because they don't know how to stay in their own motherfucking lane. Oh, what I'm seeing is so offensive. Are they publicly having sex in front of you? Oh, they're kissing. You mean the same thing that you do to your child? The same thing you do with your husband, your parents? Oh, your husband, your wife. You have a problem with it? That could be their husband, their wives. We're not going around and telling straight people, oh, you kissing your husband is offensive. Sharon, I need you to stop. We don't do that. As a person who has been fighting for the side of what is justice and what is right, as a witch, because, you know, our PR had a bad rep, as a American witch, as well as a person who is a activist for human rights and anti-racism and wanting people to stay happy, healthy, and their true selves every single day. Stay in your lane. Is it hurting you directly? Is it affecting you? Is them being prideful for being them, for being human, to be unapologetically them? They had to overcome something in order to end up being to that point of being prideful. Whatever their journey was, celebrate their happiness. Because most people in the African American community can't be themselves 365 days a year. They're still in the fear of the possibility of their parents banning or disowning them or not loving them. But we're going to talk more about the different sexualities. I'm going to be bringing Zeb back in sometime in the next couple episodes to talk more into depth into the different sexual orientations, as well into the depth of the definition of guys who are into certain fetishes and does that really make them gay. And we're going to go ahead and bring into a little bit more stuff, because even then with females, some females will make out with other females and then be questioning their own sexuality. In all actuality, they'll be straight, but they're doing this whole kink or having these moments with other females or somebody in the same sexual orientation to please their partners. Does that necessarily make you gay? Does that necessarily make you bi? Does that necessarily make you, pansexual, or just a person who just lives in the moment? Because that doesn't necessarily mean that you're sexually oriented, that you're bisexual. Sometimes it just means that you're doing something for somebody else. So we're going to dig into a little bit more in the upcoming episodes. And so what I'm going to go ahead and remind people is that my podcast is adult oriented. So this is not for everybody of all ages. This is sometimes going to be for people who are 18 plus, and the next couple episodes we're going to kind of dig deep into it. So if we're going to go ahead, and I want to forewarn you, if you are somebody who is under the age of 18 who are going to be listening to my podcast in the next couple episodes, please be mindful. We are going to go and dive into the depths of sexuality. We are going to go ahead and dive into the depths of kinks, and does that really make you gay? And we are going to dive a little bit more into being unapologetically you during Pride Month. So I am giving you guys the heads up. Again, if you're not following me on social media, please, on Twitter, it is B_Reiko. And then my IG is Lady_Reiko, Lady Reiko. And ladies and gents, last but not least, For my actual Facebook, it is model REIKOP Blackheart, which is all one word. And you can follow me there to catch up on my podcast as well as my gaming, because I do still game, as well as anything that I have ideas and thoughts on in between episodes, as well as possibility of chatting with me directly, as well as possibly even having game night with me, because I do random game nights on my Twitch channel as well. So ladies and gents, if you have been staying long enough to this point, I hope you guys keep protecting your energy. Self-love is the best love. Self-care is the best care. And it is okay to not be okay. Stay hydrated. And just remember, you are you. Do not let nobody tell you that you have to be black before you're gay. Don't tell you that you have to have more black pride before you are a woman. You are you. Don't let nobody tell you how to be you. And if you are gay and you're struggling with how to come out, please reach out to me and I can lead you to a bunch of communities that will welcome you and love you as if you are if you are part of a big welcoming family. Take pride in you. And I hope you have a wonderful week and have many blessings.